Well, Brian Spector is the co-founder of the internet security firm CertiVox. He's got a long career spanning the computer security industry, and he's here, as you can see. Brian, thank you very much for coming in.
My pleasure.
Is this kind of thing pretty widespread and commonplace, but we just don't hear about it?
Well, I think what you have to realize is that in the context of the events that have folded out over the last 2 weeks, the press has been saying, well, the next war is going to be a cyber war. What actually is happening is that we are in the next war. The cyber war is now. So when you step back and you see that RSA key tokens were effectively hacked in order to gain access to systems that use those products to effectively safeguard intrusion into those systems, then you realize that really this is a level of sophistication that can only be behind state-sponsored governments, for instance, or state actors that can be behind these activities.
We've heard this phrase, sort of state-sponsored, in connection with this. I mean, who are the most likely suspects? Well,
you have to have a degree of economic resources to be able to do this. So that winnows out about 80% of the countries, and it's a few countries on that list that really can affect this kind of effort to gain access to those systems. But really what it is anybody that's got or looking for gain or leverage on a geopolitical scale, because information is really the new currency these days, and it's much easier in effect to alter geopolitical events by breaking into systems like the IMF than it is through conventional warfare.
And how sophisticated would an attack like this have been, from what you understand?
It really runs the gamut. What you're looking at now, and what's really most worrying for firms like us, is that with the blend of social networking creeping into enterprise systems, the consumer or the individual, like any war out there, really is the ultimate casualty and takes the brunt of the most damage. So you'll find that these state-sponsored actors will do things like compromise Gmail accounts, for instance,
right,
to gain access, as you saw last week, to U.S. State Department officials' personal information that could then lead on to compromise other systems. So what we have found in our research is that we really need to take a more proactive stance, both as industry and government agencies, to, in effect, arm the citizen so that they can protect their own information against this kind of damage.
And how much money are businesses, companies spending to try and guard against attacks?
It's in the billions,
right,
and it's growing. But ultimately what happens is that the systems that you put in place to safeguard the information, in effect, can have such a negative impact on the usability of those systems. So you, in effect, tighten the lock on the box so much that nobody can get it open, that there's a fine balance there. And I think the challenge for information security companies is to make those systems more usable for the average user on the Internet out there right now.
It's fascinating stuff. Brian, thank you very much indeed for coming in to talk to us. That's Brian Spector, who is a co-founder of the internet security firm CertiVox.
Thank you.